Gomez, and Pat Somsky, who's a grant administrator here.
Okay, well, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
We will get started here shortly as people are arriving. Looking forward to our conversation today. Pardon me, I heard somebody say something.
No, Lori, it was me. I have YouTube running in the background, so I had to unmute it to make sure it was working.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Lauren, I see, has joined us, so that's good. Lauren, are you able to hear us?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay, good. And you're coming through loud and clear as well, so thanks. We have people starting to join us, so we'll give it a few more minutes and then get started. I continue to see people joining us. I am actually remote joining you from Gretna today. Looks like currently the temperature is 80 degrees, but it looks hotter than that outside. So Sharon, have you joined us?
Lori, she had to run an errand. She should be back. I think I heard her come back in, so she should be back anytime.
Okay, I was going to say I see her name, but I've not heard her log on yet. So, okay. We'll just give it a couple more minutes, as I know with people joining us.
Oh. Okay. Lori, Jill said that she ran in, started her computer, and ran right back out. She'll be right back.
Okay.
So I would say we could go ahead and start with her. If it hits 2 o'clock and she's not back, she'll jump in.
Sorry, I'm on.
Oh, there she is.
On.
Okay.
I'm on. Yeah, I'm on 2 places. So my apologies. I didn't hear you. I couldn't get it started quick enough.
Well, that's fine. I just wanted to see, I could see your name, but you weren't responding. So, but
Yep, I ghosted you for a minute.
boy, I've heard that name a lot, or that word a lot this week. So we are getting close to that 2 o'clock start time. So have a fair number of people joining us, and Lauren, our presenter, is with us today. So I'm just going to say welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining us for this August edition of the HomeNE webinar. We just really appreciate each and every time that you take time out of your day to join us for yet another topic or success story or a lesson learned story. So thank you for joining us. South Central Economic Development District is the lead agent for HomeNE Learning Network. The network is designed for all people across Nebraska who are seeking to successfully address their housing challenges, both locally and regionally. So thank you to all of you for joining us today. You've made this network what it is, and we thank you for that. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Lauren Sheridan Simonson. Lauren serves as the Executive Director for the City of Neely, as well as the Village of Clearwater. I don't know how she wears both hats. I'm sure she can share a little bit about that with us. Located in Northeast Nebraska, if you're not familiar with where those communities are. She's been a regular member of the HomeNE Learning Network, and I personally became acquainted with Lauren back in 2019 when she joined us at the Schuyler Spring Gathering. So I feel like I've known her, we've talked over time, and I just really enjoyed getting to know her and see what's happening in her communities. So it's exciting to have you here today, Lauren, and I'm looking forward to what you're sharing with us happening there in your communities. So thank you for joining us and for sharing the stories. And I'm really excited. This actually came up at our gathering in Central City just a couple months ago. So I'm really excited to hear the final chapter and what's to come after today. So before you begin, Lauren, would you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself, how you became to maybe be the executive director of both Neely and Clearwater, and then launch into your story?
Okay, well, I was working in O'Neill, and it was about a 40-mile drive, took 38 minutes, nothing too hectic or crazy. And Neely got this program called economic development. And I started seeing some of the things that they were doing and the changes they were making in the community. And I'm like, I want to ride that bus because there are really good things happening. And I want my children to want to return to Neely one day. So why not do this? So I ended up taking about a 40% pay cut and came and worked in the office as the assistant director and also the chamber director. And my mentor left to start a brewery. It seems that he told me once that drinking is the official sport of economic development, and I can see some nights that it does cost us to need to go home and maybe relax with a nice cocktail. Well, me anyway. But so I decided after Greg left, and then we had one other director for about a year and a half, and he left, and I'm like, well, I might as well throw my hat in the ring because I'm not going anywhere. And I didn't know if I was ready or not, but I decided there's nothing more important to me than supporting my communities and being invested in them both. My total mind is, always thinking, what can I do for my community and how can I help? It's just what I ask. How can I help? And the job can be very challenging at times, but it's so rewarding when you see the fruition of a project coming together and the network of other economic developers out there. It's just been an amazing journey. So.
Wonderful. Thanks for that little bit of history and background. So let's get started. I'm excited to hear about what's going on in Clearwater and the region there.
Okay. One of the newer things that we've done on this slide here is Clearwater. We're going to start off with their story today. And with the growth that we've had in the community, we decided we needed logos that represent Clearwater. And the horse is because of the rodeo. We have a big rodeo in Clearwater every year, and then a house there that where we're inviting people to come back. And we came up with a slogan that Clearwater's calling you home. And then DED also came up with a very similar slogan, but we had ours first. We can prove it. So not shooting them down by any means, but we did. We came up with it, as you will see here in just a moment. But we feel that the logos are all good representations of what each community has and what we're trying to do and growing together. And then the bishop, because of faith, and the economic development logo, and then the horse again, which could be, the rook. You have to be very strategic in your planning. So just a little backstory on developing the logos for them. And I think do I have access to this? No? Okay. So I want to start off with,
Hold on. I can't stop it. There we go. Are you ready for me to push the video? I can't, I'll give you access after we do the video.
Okay.
I just have to do the video.
Okay. Yeah. I thought it would be a good way to start the presentation today by getting to know the people of Clearwater. And I just love this video and showing some real people. And it just makes me happy and makes goosebumps on my arms whenever I see these. And so I'm going to start off with that, sharing, if we could have that shared with everyone.
The thing I love most about Clearwater is the people.
If you need something, there's a neighbor down the road that'll help you out.
It's like a big family, pretty much. It's just a way of life in a small town.
It's just home.
Hello. I prefer that side of the camera.
Are you asking me a question?
You got the questions?
Oh, Clearwater's calling us home.
Come on.
Clearwater, say that again now.
Clearwater is calling you home.
Clearwater's calling you home.
Break out in song. Clearwater's calling you home.
Clearwater's calling you home.
Calling you home.
Calling you home.
Clearwater's calling you home.
I got your toes! I got them! I love that it's a small town and something happens, there's always someone at your doorstep to ask, hey, what can I do? How can I help you?
You just step up and...
You don't ask, you just go. You just show up. I'm gonna read first and then you guys are gonna read next. It's a small school, but yet we can still offer more things for these kids that the bigger schools can do.
I think the benefits are huge at this new site.
Education shouldn't always be on the forefront because the kids are our future. And without a quality place like Summerlin Public Schools and the state-of-the-art facility that we have built here, what we have to offer the kids at Summerlin Public Schools will help them in their future endeavors, and it's just going to pay dividends in the end.
Being in Clearwater, Nebraska, people enjoy the small town life, and that's why they're here. They love it. But with high-speed fiber internet in Clearwater, they can still connect to anyone else in the world. So if you're a small business owner in Clearwater, they really rely on our fiber internet.
Being a business owner here within the last year, the community has really been welcoming. I mean, I feel like it's a really good location. It's really cool to see how the community comes together.
Well, it's a small town, everybody knows everybody, and rodeo time, everyone kind of pitches in to help. And
it is a beautiful night at the Clearwater Rodeo. Yep, your turn.
The rodeo is important to our community because it does draw people not just from Clearwater and Antelope County. It draws them from all over the state and from out of state. So it is a draw. It's a big economic boost. And I also think that how many times can you get 100 or 150 community people to come together and volunteer? And that's for one night. Whether it's taking money at the gate or working at the concession stand or helping open the bucking chutes, that's all volunteer labor. So I think that says something about Clearwater's character.
Clearwater's calling me home.
Clearwater's calling you home.
Calling you home.
Clearwater's calling you home.
Calling you home.
Calling you home.
Calling you home.
Clearwater's calling you home.
Clearwater's calling you home.
Well, that's just a little taste of the community. And what I have on this next slide here, I got access. I get to control. Need one of these buttons at home. Well, this was the groundbreaking, and we had some record heat and dry temperatures for days and days and days. And then we decided we're going to have a ribbon cutting, and it's going to rain and it's going to pour for 24 hours and make it muddy and cold. But it made the ground softer. So we had a nice turnout with a local senator and obviously many people from the community that were invested in the project all came out to support it. So that was the groundbreaking just this last fall.
And can you tell us a little bit about the context of that project?
Okay. Clearwater it was 2020, we applied for the Nebraska Affordable Housing Trust Fund grant. And we had our scope of what we were trying to do was moving some of the older residents that were in a house that was too big for them with one or two people. We wanted to have a zero entry option for them to move into. And as we get a little older and our knees don't quite hold up like they used to going up and down steps and the maintenance on a home, we decided we wanted a duplex, but we also wanted to have funds in there to bring the other house that a person would be selling to for a new family, to give them some low interest loans and grants to modernize that house and make it, put their own personal stamp on it. Unfortunately, we were not awarded on the first time through, but you know what? We did it again the next year, and we had a much better application, just focusing specifically on the one duplex and seeing how that all went down. So this was the groundbreaking for the duplex after receiving the Nebraska Affordable Housing Trust Fund grant for $210,000, I think it was.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. It is not letting me switch. Well, shortly after the rain, it started snowing, and I don't think it stopped all season. So the pictures here don't really show as much of the snow that we had, but boy, the contractor had a heck of a time getting this all framed up and ready to go, and just trying to get it out of the elements so that they could actually not be out there freezing to death on those super cold days. So it was exciting to see the walls starting to come up and the project to take shape. Still not allowing me to switch. Closing up from the elements just meant the rain, the snow, and then the feral cats couldn't come in any longer. So it was another exciting step to see it kind of take shape when you have the boards on, and then you get the house wrap and the windows and the doors. You just really start getting excited about the project and seeing it come to fruition.
So Lauren, is this a duplex? Remind me again who your target audience is.
It is a duplex, and the target audience, it's a little bit of both, because housing is tight. We all know that. And it would be a perfect house for a retired person, one or two persons, or a young family to come into that would take a job as a teacher at the Summerlin school, the one that they showed you in the video in that program, but also it's kind of centrally located where there's a new policeman or a nurse going up to the hospital. It's really a wide target range. If somebody would sell and step down from a larger home, would be ideal for the families that are coming in. But some people are very attached to those homes. So I guess we're not stereotyping it. Maybe in one way. We were kind of kidding around at the open house last week that we could market them as his and hers units. Perfect marital house.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Some of the drywall that was going up, and starting to see some of the forms of the rooms, when the brightness of the windows, there were a lot of windows in the room, so it did make it very bright, not at all dark and dreary like some places where you don't have enough lighting. Next slide, please. So getting a little closer to completion with the siding and some rock on the front, and this was before the landscaping was done and the grass was planted, obviously. So then there's still caution tape, but it's just another step in the process of getting it completed, just all the things that have to be done. And once that stage happened, it seemed like it went to the completion really quickly. So the duplexes were completed earlier this month, a little bit behind schedule because of the delays from the weather from the beginning. But they are, each unit is 1,085 square feet. It's 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, all electric. And they're selling at $150,000 to income qualified. And that can be 125% of LMI. So as you can see, very nicely positioned on the lot, and having the garage in the center just provides that extra quiet space between the 2 units. If there's kids in there running around and screaming, you don't always want to hear that. And the garages are oversized as well. You couldn't put 2 vehicles in there, but they are drywalled and could be used as additional space if a person wanted to make it a great room or something instead of a garage. And next slide. And then the interior, it's very bright with the fixtures, with the stainless and the white in the kitchen. And it's a very large kitchen with a lot of counter space, cabinet space, pantry, then unique finishes that were, I'd say, modern, not too trendy, that are going to have to be replaced out, and plenty of storage in the unit. So next. And this was a fun day. This was a week ago today. We had the ribbon cutting and open house for the project, bringing it in, and the Chamber of Commerce came, and we got to all walk through and see what it was all about. And the couple in the middle with the red shirt and she has on a white shirt are the developers, Steve and Michelle Sturms, and they are just true community stewards. So working with them was an absolute pleasure. And they're just excited to see the project done, and now just want to see someone living in there. Next, please. From the duplex project, we found that another group of individuals in town said, well, let's get our investment club group going. So we started having some meetings with that, and they call it the Clearwater Community Development Group. And this was their first house that they built, and it was sold, I want to say it was like in December of last year. It was late in the year that it was done. But a gentleman who was involved with a housing group up in Northeast Nebraska for 30, 40 years, he bought this home. So it just seemed really appropriate that someone that spent a good portion of his life trying to get homes for the citizens in these communities, and then new housing project comes up and he gets to move off the farm, move his kids in, and he's got a nice place in town. And I apologize, I guess they need to mow right now. And they have that group has other lots and designs that they're continuing to do. So it's just going to be a slower process than the first one, but it's going to be happening soon. With all of the press and sharing with the city council at the Neely meetings, they're like, well, why can't we do it? If they did it, why'd you do it for them? What did you do for us? And it's like, you didn't want this grant. You wanted the workforce housing grant. You didn't want a restricted low income, any barriers on that. So what we started talking about is the rural workforce housing fund. And we knew that we needed to start right away by.
Hey, Lauren.
Yes.
You froze and we lost you for about 30 seconds.
Oh, I froze. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, we got a little, Neely became a little more competitive and opened up their minds a little bit to some of the grant programs and decided we can do something like that ourselves. So we had to update our housing study. So we selected a group called 5 Rural Planning. And what they do is communities of 5,000 or less. So they really get rural. And I used to work with Lowell on projects for downtown revitalization in Neely when he was with the district up in Norfolk. So it was very easy to merge into working with him on this project. So we updated our housing study and applied for the Rural Workforce Housing Grant Fund. We have multiple projects that are part of this application, and we're doing a revolving loan fund. We are capping the construction loans, though, to get more. Cannot believe they're mowing right now. To get more projects done, we're offering a $125,000 loan at 1% for 12 months, just to keep the projects moving along. They have 15 months to pay it off without a penalty, because we want to give them a chance to sell it once it's complete. But we try not to do any more than half of the total cost of the project. Just like with our LB 840 loans that we use, we went with some of the same guidelines on there to put into this market rate housing program. And this is the one that Neely received $510,000 in grant funding for that. So the housing loan information for the contractors, we have it posted on our website, or they can pull it down, complete it at their whatever's convenient for them. And then we go through the process of background checks, just very similar to what we would do with a LB 840 loan. We just want to make sure we're dealing with sound individuals and that they have a plan, that they're just not coming in. Let's just wing it. We want to give them the best chance to succeed in their project, which means doing the legwork before. as contractors, they know the importance of the foundation, and that's what we stick on when we're working with them. That's why we have the cost projection analysis, the formas, the business plan, making sure that they're focusing on the things that they need to do to have a successful project. Next. With the Clearwater project, what happened after the duplex groundbreaking is the single family home that I pointed out from the Clearwater Community Development Group. And they have 2 to 3 more that they're going to start working on here pretty soon. Elgin is a community about, I'd say 20 miles from Clearwater, about 11 miles from Neely to the south along Highway 14. And they had driven through Clearwater and saw that project, and we want to do one. They got a developer that wanted to get rolling on it. He has farm help that he needs to find a place for, and the big need for it, even for the teachers. So he decided to build his own. He was interested in applying for the same grant, but he wanted the housing to go up right away, which you could not. It just doesn't happen like magic with that, when you're dealing with the grant. I like to say it's a 2-year investment before you break that ground, really, the legwork that's done. In Neely, a duplex was started, and it's in the early stages of construction. It's a little higher, it's higher end than the ones in Clearwater, in a new subdivision that has some very nice homes in it. And he didn't like me calling it a duplex, and I should have changed that. It is a townhome. Then we have a project coming up soon that a developer wants to do a 2-unit duplex, which would be for rent. And then I have 4 pending 2-unit duplexes, which will all be for sale. And then we have a younger couple that want to do a buy, purchase, resell, where they go in and flip some of the older homes that maybe have been neglected and just make them a little bit more modern. And we also just started working with another developer who wants to build 6 apartments in one of these communities to offer more housing solutions. They want to have a way of giving back to their community and come up with some, nicer rentals. So that's another one that has happened just in the last couple of days since I put this presentation together. So it's obviously spurring a lot of activity from other communities. See that, well, if they can do it, we can do it. And that's exactly what happened in Ewing. And Ewing would be about 20 miles west of Neely, about 10 miles west of Clearwater. And they also got the Nebraska Affordable Housing Trust Fund grant this last year. We got ours the year before, but they're building 4 rental units too. So it's really a lot of growth. If you took a compass around and circled that area, how much housing you have in, it's just tremendous when you to count up these additional homes, whether they be single family or multifamily places where these people can live and, not have to have a place that's completely run down just because they want to live in the community. And sometimes it can be scary for a young couple to think, okay, we're going to build something now. Well, that's going to take a while, so we didn't have to move in with mom and dad. Well, what we're finding is some of these projects are going to work perfectly for them, and they can move right in. There's also the possibility somebody has a 3 maybe 4-bedroom house on 2-story home, and they're aging in place and doing, fairly well at home. They're maybe in their 80s, but they don't want to have all the maintenance. They don't want to have to mow the lawn, scoop the snow, all the extra rooms and storage of furniture that is probably rarely used. So they could step down into one of these other units and open up one of the larger family homes. Next. Please. So this is a little archaic, but to me, it is just showing that the one started all of these others, and it's, the duplication process. And we've had people call us and ask us what we've done, and we kind of share our story, and we're very blessed to work with. We have a wonderful DED rep from up around Laurel that is awesome to work with. We've had great luck in each community working with local developers and even contractors, investors, and government bodies that realize, each one of these homes is adding to the county and bringing more into the region, because it is more about regional growth than just individual growth. Okay. My contact information, if you have any questions, anything that I can help you with is down here. I was just gonna kind of look through my notes and see if I had anything else on here.
Some questions for you in the chat box, Lauren,
All right.
if you want to take a few of those. First of all, kudos and high fives on your Clearwater video. Somebody asked who produced that for you.
That would be Brian Crackmeyer, B&B Video out of West Point. And he's done 3 for us here in Neely and getting ready to do another one. And he is amazing to work with. Amazing.
Great.
What was his last name? Sorry, I didn't get that.
Crackmeyer? That's Tammy, right?
Yes.
I can get you his information.
Perfect. So
go ahead.
So Samantha wanted to know how you were able to strengthen your trust fund application. You mentioned it was denied the first time. What did you do between the first denial and the second application process to strengthen that?
We tried to focus in on just one area instead of the turning the other houses, that where a person would be moving out of a larger home into a smaller, easier to maintain home, 0 entry, no stairs, and then flipping the other one to modernize it. I think it kind of got lost into the different steps it would take to make all those changes. And it's very hard to tell what those hard costs would be, because you don't know what it's going to look like until you're actually in there and seeing what improvements need to be made. And so it wasn't cohesive enough. And on the second time through, we just stuck to what we knew we needed. We needed a couple duplexes in town that we could put people in right away.
So your application really totally changed. It wasn't the same application the second time. It was a completely different focus. Is that what I heard you to say?
It was streamlined to focus on just the new house, not nothing on the older properties. But the caveat to that is, if there's money left over at the end of the project being completed, those funds can stay in a revolving loan fund where we can help do the flipping or the modernization of some of the other homes. So it did kind of work out the way that we originally wanted it to. It just had a different path on getting there.
Okay. And you have somebody interested in doing some flipping. Are they using your rural workforce money then to do that?
Yes, they haven't submitted their application yet. They both of them are teachers, and so they're starting back to school here this week, but they really want to do this project, but they haven't found the right house. If any of you had seen the show Hometown on, I just love that show. I want to find some people like them to come into the community and just feel that passion. I mean, I can do it, but I am not handy. We already talked earlier. If I needed to fix a water line on a toilet, it ain't happening. It just is not I'll cheer on the person doing it, but I can't fix it.
So Tammy wanted to know if the developers worked with the Village of Clearwater on the grant, or what role did they play in the beginning? That's kind of my add-on to her question.
Okay. Well, we had to work with the developer quite a bit to get the concept of what they were looking for. We had to get costs, the pro forma, all the extras that you don't normally think of when it's just a little more challenging when you go through the grant program. Everything has to be spelled out. The developer also, specs and going through the Department of Energy, Environment and Energy. You have to go through and get an approval with them as well. And you're kind of reproducing certain parts of the application to get that approval before you can even break ground. But having a developer who can be patient at the same time and realize, that's why I say it's a 2-year process from the beginning of the application and getting the information to fruition. But that 2 years goes very fast.
Good. What questions do you have for Lauren? I don't want to jeopardize her time with questions that I have, but what's coming to mind for all of you?
I don't know that I have a question so much as just kudos. What a story. A town of 320 that is nowhere close to the interstate, that is just knocking it out of the ballpark and making larger communities like Neely say, whoa, what did they do and why aren't we doing that? And that is an awesome story. I love that. And it absolutely just supports what we tell communities all the time. And that is, there's no right place to start. The right answer is start. Activity breeds activity. Just start somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. And we kind of coined or stole that phrase from Sharon. She says that a lot to us in the office, activity breeds activity. And it's so true. We do have a question for you, Lauren. Did your trust fund project include down payment assistance provided through this grant, or how is that working?
Yes, it does. And it's based on affordability and the income levels. So it does include that on there. I'd have to pull up the pro forma to see exactly. I was thinking it was roughly 50,000 for each unit. So it's
okay. Down payment assistance to the buyer or to the developer, or
to the buyer.
Okay. Let me know if I'm not asking that question right, Amanda, but yeah. So, and then did you use any type of grant funds to fund your housing study?
Yes.
In
the NIFA, Nebraska Investment Finance Authority, 50% match.
Okay, good. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Sharon, January is that time again for that application to come up?
If there's somebody on here from NIFA that can confirm that would be great. I emailed the other day and said, because often they have a second round, and this year they have not. And they said they would be offering it again. I didn't get an exact date, but historically the application is due in January.
Okay, super. So what else comes to mind for Lauren today? I'm curious to know a little bit more about the investment group and their plans. You mentioned they had lots and designs. Are they giving those lots away, or are they building for somebody? How are they operating?
In Clearwater, if you build a new home, a single family home or business on an vacant lot, the village gives you $5,000 towards the cost of that. For the duplex, that lot, they gave them $10,000 because it holds two. Neely, I don't have them convinced that that's a good thing to give some of these lots away and how it can benefit them, but it's just different communities have different ideas, but it's worked very well in Clearwater.
Okay.
And having that extra incentive, so that's makes a lot of difference to a developer if they can get, say, $10,000 to help cover the purchase of the property for the duplex.
Sometimes that's the margin that's necessary to create the project. So yeah, there's just so much momentum. We were talking during our practice session, the six unit apartment complex that somebody is considering, what an impact that will make in addition to everything that's already started in your area and in Clearwater especially. So yeah, go ahead.
You were asked earlier, how many homes are in Clearwater, and we went with the just easy math being at 100. And with this, with the duplex and then the single family home already done, and then we have 6 more units coming in. So that would be 9 new homes in a matter of 1 to 2 years.
Yeah, a 9% increase, we'll say, for purposes in a larger community, what an impact that would make. So yeah. So does anybody have any other questions for Lauren? Well, hearing none, Lauren, I do want to say thank you, and we'll start to wrap up here. We do have her contact information. As I said, she wears 2 hats, so feel free to reach out to her at either email on your screen or the phone number listed. And what a great story you're telling there in Clearwater. And hopefully it will be something emulated across the state. So, okay. So next month's webinar, we have Jordan Diedrich from Twin Cities Development out in the Panhandle. He will be joining us, and he's going to be talking about all the different housing activities that they have going on in the Scottsbluff Gearing area. And he is a Wizard of Oz fan, he told me. So looking forward to that presentation on Thursday, September 21st. So feel free to join us and hear from Jordan and what he and several others will be joining him. And I don't have their names in front of us, but they'll be talking about the different aspects of housing that they are working on. So today's webinar, as well as past webinars, are available to you for watching at our HomeNE.us website there. So feel free to check that out. So with that, once again, Lauren, I do say thank you to you and for the preparation and for really emulating the concept of activity breeds activity. So thank you so very much. So Sharon, do you have any last thoughts?
I don't. Thanks, everybody. If you have stories for us, let us know. We're always looking for more speakers so we can keep this going. If it gets to the point where we don't have new information to tell you, we just probably won't. And so we do need your help to let us know what's going on across the state or in other states. So let us know when you see something going on, and even as you travel or whatever, looking for successes, looking for lessons, looking for how to. If you have something you'd be willing to share, you know, we have been having gatherings once or twice a year, and what do you want to hear? What's that information? If it's a gathering, if it's a workshop, what would that be? What would be most beneficial to your community? So we would love to hear from you. But other than that, I think it's time we say, see you next month.
Exactly. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.